What's up, everybody? This is VisitJoan, and as you may have noticed, I have been MIA this past weekend, and that is because of Anime Midwest. And as you guys probably already know, unless you're completely new here, is that the last couple of weeks since Island Living released, I have been working my butt off trying to get these builds ready for you to take advantage of the hype and just basically grow this channel and all this other stuff. So it was nice to take a few days off, take a break, relax, just enjoy the convention, and be able to come back with a fresh eye and get some more work done. So it's back to the grind for me. But anyway, you guys, today we are rebuilding a house from The Sims 2. It was actually in the family bin. I think it was introduced in Family Fun Stuff. It's called Visionary Villa, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And the reason I decided to do this in Island Living is because the original house had a big back deck over a lake, and so I figured, you know what? Why not, instead of the lake, why not make it the ocean, you know? So that's what I did. I made it as a beach lot in Sulani. So I'm actually building this house for the son of Rogan, who runs the restaurant where Bella was a waitress. And if you're wondering why the heck was Bella Goth a waitress, well, then you need to go into the description below and check out That Fateful Night. The link is down there. Please check it out. But anyway, you guys, I know I haven't exactly introduced him yet, and the people I'm building this house for don't actually appear in the series because they're not really important, but, you know, it's just like background information that I have in my head, and I figured, you know what, while I'm building this house, I need somebody to live in it. Why not? So that's what's going on. Anyway, this family has a teenage boy, a child girl, and a toddler boy. And I know I've been putting a lot of pets, especially dogs, in, you know, the households I've been putting in Sulani because, you know, dogs have this new feature where they can actually come and swim in the ocean, and I thought that would be really cool. Yeah, but this family, I decided, you know what, here's a family that doesn't have a pet. So, because, you know, not everyone has a pet. But, so anyway, about the build itself, oh my goodness, I actually ran into a major problem, and that is when I went to, you know, was putting the deck chairs on the outside, and I went to put a deck chair in the, the front porch. I couldn't actually put it in front of the wall. It was actually either going between the wall or way up in the porch, and I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I decided, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, go and light the house. And when I was lighting the house, there was one room where I couldn't put a light in a certain part of the room. Actually, it was like a certain half of the room. I could not put any furniture at all. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? Is it because of how I built the house? Is it that stupid room thing? Again, EA really needs to fix that. But I've talked about that before. So, you know, I did a whole bunch of stuff. I rebuilt the room. That didn't work. I demolished the lot and put it back on the specific lot. That didn't work. And so I'm trying to rack my brain, like, what the heck is going on? And it was like the weirdest thing. Like, I would put the floor in the room, and then everything would be fine. But no, wait, that's not what happened. What happened was, without the flooring in the room, you know, everything would be fine. I could put stuff wherever I wanted. But as soon as I put the floor in, I couldn't. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? It was really just racking my brain. I couldn't figure it out. But eventually what I did is I moved the house to another lot, and that worked. So because of all of that, I did cut all of that out of the video. This video is long enough, but because of that, you don't really get to see me, you know, lighting the house or putting some of the floor in, but you know what? Oh well, there's nothing I can do about that. So there was also this really weird thing going on with the curtains because, you know, I have multiple windows next to each other, and I'm trying to put a curtain over one of these windows, and it just would not center in the middle of one of the windows. And I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on? But I finally figured that out. And, you know, at one point I actually go back and make the deck on the back bigger because I actually wanted to fit that cute little canopy over it. And, you know, I found the color scheme doing another build that I actually liked. It's probably my favorite color scheme. But I'm like, you know what? I want to put this in this build. And there was just no room for it. So I made the back deck a little bit bigger in the middle. Oh my god. So I made the back deck a little bit bigger in the middle of the build. So you will notice that I did leave that in there. And I also had a problem with, you know, just the layout of the house in general, when I was building it, I'm looking at a picture from The Sims 2, and I'm able to actually count the number of squares in The Sims 2. So that's how I make sure everything is proportioned correctly. But, when I was working on this, I just kind of got a feeling that something was off, and there was, one point where I couldn't, line everything up the way that it was all supposed to line up, and I eventually figured that out. But, even when I was going through the landscaping and all of that stuff, I definitely realized that, something wasn't all that right. And then I just realized that I had made one of the walls one tile bigger than it was supposed to be. So that was actually when I was doing the roofing. So I had to go back and shrink it down, and I cut that out too. But eventually, it did turn out to be, oh boy, whatchamacallit, it turned out alright in the end, And I think that was it for, problems during this build. Like I've said, I just got back from my long weekend off, so it's been a while since I've actually built this house. But during the weekend, during the, because I live, 20 minutes away from, where the convention was, I don't get a hotel room, so I was able to come home at night, and, in the morning and later at night, I actually did work on this video a little bit, so it's not like I completely took a break from all of the work, but for the most part, it actually, was a break. So I actually was able to get this video done. I know how long it is, so I need to talk a lot to be able to fill this, video with the voiceover. So anyway, I kind of know a little bit of what happened, but I'm kind of, I don't know, I have no idea where this train of thought is going. Sometimes my train just goes in random directions, and yeah, that's a serious problem I actually have. Okay, enough about that. Back to the build. I don't think I've ever done a teal kitchen. I think, I have. Maybe I have used the teal countertops before, I don't remember, but that is my favorite color. So what I really wanted to do is to make a teal kitchen, and I think it turned out great. I know there were a couple of spots where I'm like, maybe I don't want the counters here. And I kind of decided to do a mix of because I use the island living counters, and we don't have a cabinet for that yet. I don't know if they're going to patch that in. I heard they would. I mean, I heard it was a mistake that they made in coding, but they might patch it. Anyway, you guys, so I decided to put, the Parenthood counters up there. No, the cabinets, the Parenthood cabinets. Jeez, Joan, it is 6:14 a.m. I am losing it, but, and you're probably wondering what the heck I am doing recording this at 6 in the morning, and that is because I got the opportunity. I'm gonna go with it. But anyway, I decided to put the Parenthood cabinets, Joan, cabinets. Sheesh, okay. The Parenthood cabinets on top of a couple of walls, and then put the shelves from Island Living, and put some kitchen clutter like that, because I feel like I don't even remember his name now. He is the son of a guy that owns a restaurant, so I feel like they would have everything in their kitchen, and so I cluttered it up really, really well. So and I actually had a couple instances where I was rearranging stuff, and I did leave all of that in there, and you'll see that. I did use the island counters from Jungle Adventure for the island and the area to sit down. And actually, now that I think about it, the house in The Sims 2 didn't really have a dining room, but it had 2 extra hobby rooms. So I decided to make one of the extra hobby rooms the dining room. So it's all the way on the other side of the house. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, you can carry food across a house. But anyway, in the middle of this build, I decided to download the free holiday pack. And that's because, I was watching other people do these builds, and they were taking this string of flip-flops, which is just really cute, and putting them in their girls' rooms. And I'm like, where are you getting these flip-flops? I'm trying to look at the icon in the catalog on these YouTube videos, and I didn't recognize it at all. I'm like, okay, it must be custom content. But then eventually I realized it might be from the holiday pack. And I looked at the stuff that you get in the holiday pack, and there it was. And I'm like, well, it's free. Why not? So I did download it. So I was able to use some of the lights in there to decorate the girls' room. And I actually did use the flip-flops, as well as some of the streamers and stuff that came with, seasons. There we go. And actually that turned out pretty good. I am really proud of this girls' room. I think it's one of the best girls' rooms I've ever done. And it was the last stream I did in the build, so you'll be seeing that a little bit later. But I'm just really proud of the way it turned out. It looks so cute. It has a lot of character. I really like it. I'm glad I discovered those like ribbon things from Seasons, because that adds like a whole new decor option for girls' rooms and just rooms in general. Well, that's everything I pretty much have to say about the build itself, so I'm gonna fill the rest of this video a little bit by talking about my weekend. And I'm sorry if you don't like that stuff, but I really just don't like it when people just talk about their builds endlessly, I like having a personal touch in this video. And it's just like when people talk about their builds, they're like, okay, I use this cabinet from this pack, and I'm like, yes, I can see that you use this cabinet in this pack. You don't have to say that about every single object you put in the house. It's just really kind of annoying. But when people add like a personal touch, it feels like I'm getting to know them. It feels like I actually have friends. It feels like, I really like that, and I need something to talk about. So basically, it was pretty much a 4-day weekend because, the 4th of July was on a Thursday this year. And so it's a tradition that we have every year to go to this convention that is the 4th of July weekend. And my cousin comes up and he stays with me because, like I said, I live 20 minutes away from it. But this time when my mom went to go get him, she says, why don't you come with? Everyone wants to see you. And I'm like thinking, you know what? Okay, there are a couple of movies out. Why don't we go see a movie? So we did. We saw Spider-Man Far From Home. And I just have to say one thing. When you go see that movie, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Make sure you stay till the end of the credits. And I know this seems like common knowledge because it is a Marvel movie, but I can't stress that enough, that you stay till the end because it will change the entire movie. Okay, but overall, it was a pretty good movie, and I kind of figured, you know what, maybe I should live in Venice because you don't have cars and you could just take boats everywhere, and, but that's probably... It just seems like in Venice, because they have like all these boats and stuff, it's just easier to get places, and, I really need that because it's kind of hard for me to go anywhere. But anyway, you guys. We saw the movie, which is really odd that I see a movie within a week it comes out anymore. But you know what? It actually felt good to kind of have the heads up on everybody at the convention, because a lot of people at the convention hadn't seen the movie yet. So I felt that would be, a good idea. But anyway, I think the good news is that going to the convention, we did not miss a turn once. And that's really critical because it's kind of like every year, we get lost, or, well, not really lost, but we miss a turn somewhere. And that's because, the convention is at a hotel and convention center that is pretty much right across the street from O'Hare. And if you've ever driven anywhere near O'Hare Airport, you know what a mess those roads are. I don't exactly know what happened. I know one was built before the other, but basically, the road that we want to take to get to the hotel, there's no exit on the interstate that goes to that road in the direction that we want to go. So basically what we have to do is we have to get on the highway that actually leads to O'Hare and do basically a double loop-de-loop around, get off that highway, get back on the highway getting in the other direction, and then get off of the road that we want to go on. Yes, that is how messed up the roads are at O'Hare. There have been times, like last year, we were trying to go home, and we ended up in the terminal, and so we go through the terminal of O'Hare, and this is the second busiest airport of the world. And so it's not, you don't just zip through it, you go through really slow, but we finally were heading out of the terminal, and one of my parents, because they both were with us because they went out to eat and then picked us up, but one of them, and I'm not going to say who because I don't really want to embarrass them, but one of my parents was like, hey look, see that sign? It says exit to the city. And the one that was driving was like, no, I want to take this way. And guess what? We ended up going through O'Hare again. But this time we had no mistakes, so that was a good thing. And actually there was this funny story. It actually is Sims related, so I'm going to tell this story like right now. But, so on Friday when we get there, the first thing my cousin wanted to do is go to Disney Trivia, and I kind of wasn't really interested in that because I haven't really watched a lot of Disney movies, and part of it's because I really wasn't interested in movies like Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, but also because as a kid, I had a really short attention span, and it wasn't long enough to be able to sit through like a 90-minute movie. In fact, whenever I did watch a movie, I could feel like an hour into the movie, I was like no longer interested, I wanted to do something else. But, now it's not a problem because I was able to actually sit through Endgame, no problem. But back then, it was just like, I could not watch movies all that well. And so I haven't really seen a lot of Disney movies, and those I have, they were either a really long time ago, or I never saw them all the way through in one sitting. So I knew that I wouldn't really know all the answers to these trivia questions. But my mom's like, you know what, why don't you go? Because the first thing I wanted to go to was at 2. So I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go. So we get in there, and apparently they use this site called Kahoot. I don't know. This is the first time I had ever heard of it. Apparently they use it in schools and stuff, but I got out of school 4 years ago. So this is the first time I've ever heard of this. And the girl running the panel says, you know, you need a phone to access the internet. And here's the thing. My cousin is one of those people that doesn't really want a smartphone. He likes to have things simple, and he just wants a phone that can send and receive calls and texts. So his phone wouldn't work. So I had to pull out my phone and go to the website. And, you know, there were 3 rounds, and for each round we had to log in. And so because it was my phone, I got to choose the username. And after all the questions, you know, the top 5 names would be on the board. And one of the people in the second round, they said their name was a random sim. So I'm thinking, okay, it would be kind of funny if I put my name as Bella Goth. You know what? I'm doing it. And so I did it, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, because my cousin has seen like almost every movie ever made, this is going to be the time that we end up on the scoreboard. And lo and behold, that is what happened. Like, at first we were like in 5th place, tied with Master Xehanort of all people, which is the main antagonist of the recently completed arc in the Kingdom Hearts series. But after that, you know, we were consistently in 2nd place. And then there was one time we were in 1st place. But that actually didn't last long. And I think that was probably because of the extra added reaction time of him telling me the answers and me keying it in. And I feel like maybe if he had been keying it in himself, he might have won. But you know what? 2nd place out of 130 people, that is nothing to complain about. You know, the whole time, the name Bella Goth is you know, sitting there on the screen, and I was pretty much laughing my head off the entire time, but you know what? Oh boy. And there was actually one question at the end of the first round that was like, you know, what is the name of the cat from the movie Bolt? And my cousin goes, I haven't seen this movie, but I have. And so I knew the answer. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Mittens, but Whiskers is also calling my name here. No, it's Mittens. It's Mittens. And yeah, it was Mittens. So I knew the answer to a question that he didn't know. And you know what? You know what? That's a win. That's a win. I am going to take it. That made me happy. I don't get wins that often. So when I do, I'm going to take them. But considering my cousin eats, sleeps, and breathes movies, you know, that's a pretty big accomplishment, so that made me happy. And I also guessed one before him that he actually had seen before, and that is because, you know, with all the island living stuff out, everyone's been doing, you know, recreations of, like, The Little Mermaid, and somewhere along the line, I saw something about the 7 daughters of King Triton, so when they asked how many sisters does Ariel have, I knew the answer to that right away. So, okay, another one. Not as good as the Mittens one, but pretty good nonetheless. But anyway, that is not the only Sims-related thing I saw there. I know Saturday when I went into the panel where they were doing Marvel Mad Libs, there was somebody dressed up like the conspiracy theorist from Strangerville with the metal colander with the Christmas lights over and the vest and everything. And I just thought that was cool. I was not expecting to see that. And then, you know, because my mom decided that Saturday evening when we were done, we were going to go to a restaurant that was right by there. So we were pretty much walking to the restaurant, and basically in front of us a lot of the time, well, I was waiting for my cousin in the video game room, and I saw this couple go through there, and then they were crossing the street before us, and they were a couple, and they basically had plumb bobs over their heads. So when we meet up with my mom, she's like, oh, I just saw a couple of Sims go down the street. I'm like, wait a minute, what is on their heads? Like, you didn't recognize it? She's like, yeah, I knew I'd seen it before, but I didn't realize what it was until I had to think about it. So yes, there were some Sims-related cosplays there. But anyway, I can tell by, you know, the bar count that this voiceover is probably going long enough. I mean, I'm going to edit it and cut out some of the gaps later, so it's probably going to be a little bit shorter, but I am going to let you go here, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this build. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you liked the build, and you want to see more, definitely leave a like and consider subscribing. And I will be seeing you next time, guys. Bye!